Hello, my name is Bernard Murphy and I teach and carry out research in the subject area of quantitative finance here in the University of Limerick in the Kenny Business School. I have a particular interest in the measurement and management of risk in financial markets. And whether you realise it or not, it's a very important topic for all of us, given that in 2016 we are still feeling the effects of the most recent global financial crisis, which occurred all the way back in late 2008. If I was asked to describe my teaching role here in the University of Limerick, I suppose one of the first things I would say is that I have a responsibility to ensure an outstanding learning experience for all my students, underpinned by a curriculum which is academically challenging, but yet still relevant to the skill needs of employers. I strive to educate my students not so much in the ways of financial market professionals, which, let's face it, leaves a lot to be desired given the excesses we've experienced over the last 7 or 8 years, but in ways which will allow them to independently acquire a deep-seated understanding of the nature and causes of financial risk in all its forms. Why would that be important, you might ask? Well, one very important reason being that as professionals working in the industry in years to come, with the benefit of the training here in the University of Limerick, they'll be better able to detect and hopefully decipher the developing signals of an impending financial crash before it becomes too late to be able to do anything about it. Unlike that Hollywood movie epic of the comet or asteroid hitting Earth, which we can do nothing about, we can take steps to avoid or at least mitigate the worst effects of the next financial crisis. In the eyes of many observers, the recent global financial crash is seen as a near miss which could have and nearly destroyed the global financial system as we know it. In the eyes of many observers, the recent global financial crisis is seen as a near miss which nearly wiped out the global financial system as we know it. If there's one lesson we've learned from the recent global financial crisis, it's that we're going to need graduates who are trained in the detection, the measurement, and the management of financial risk in all its forms. Now, any educational program worth its salt has to be founded in the first instance on a platform of technical and academic rigor. So our programs need tutors who have been academically trained to the most exacting and highest academic standards. But it doesn't hurt, indeed it can help very considerably, if our tutors also have professional experience of working at the coalface of the self-same industry that we're preparing our graduates for careers in. Having worked in industry myself for close on 15 years and for as long again as an academic, I'm acutely conscious of the importance of structuring academic programs so as to meet the skills needs of employers, both now but especially into the future as well. The companies I encounter in quantitative finance want graduates who have practically relevant knowledge, and in my case they also want technical expertise with a hard edge. They want their new hires to be able to bring immediate relevance and value to the organisation, people who can quickly ride up the learning curve, so to speak. They want original and intuitive thinkers, but they also want team players, people who can share knowledge and work well in groups. The organisational thinking or mindset in this instance being the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. So this is a tough ask of an educational institution like University of Limerick. Given our academic or classroom environment, how can we equip our graduates with the requisite professional training and skills so as to be able to make an immediate and practically useful impact in the organisation which hires them? Well, we do it by making the academic environment resemble the real-world environment as much as possible. And then we use an approach to learning which we call learning by doing, which, to use the cliche, enables our graduates to be able to walk the walk rather than simply talk the talk in the organisation that hires them. What's required in a learning by doing approach can perhaps be found in the words of another saying attributable to the Greek philosopher Aristotle. For the things we have to learn before we can do them, we learn by doing them. And I'll say that again because I believe it to be at the core of our learning by doing approach here in the University of Limerick. For the things we have to learn before we can do them, we learn by doing them. Now that kind of implies the need for an experimental laboratory or a simulated real-world setting of some form where our students can somehow put that classroom theory they've acquired into practice. And that's precisely what we offer our students in Finance and Risk, a campus-based financial markets laboratory, in fact the very first of its kind on the island of Ireland, where our students get to use the very same gold standard financial technology used by Wall Street traders, investors and financial regulators alike. My colleagues and I refer to this as technology-enabled learning through doing. But I believe in fact that it's the reflective learning feedback loop which is really at the core of delivering added value for both employers and students alike. Namely, the ability to assimilate firsthand in an interactive environment the lessons learned, then immediately reapply the knowledge and experience gained to the problem at hand. It all results in a more deeply ingrained understanding of the theory a far more effective retention of the sometimes complex concepts discussed in classwork, and last but not least, graduates who have been professionally well trained to meet the needs of industry. So if you're a prospective student or indeed a prospective employer of our students from the University of Limerick, please get in touch if you want to learn more about our learning by doing approach to education and our simulated financial markets environment, through which, as I said, we enable our students to walk the walk towards successful careers in the international financial services industry.